Hi, I'm Anusha and welcome to my gardening channel Under the Tree. In this episode, I'll be showing you the basics of how to grow lettuce. Lettuce is a widely used leafy vegetable. Everybody thinks it's difficult to grow, but I can show you otherwise. The first thing you need to do to start growing lettuce by seed is to get your potting soil organized. So we have a few things over here on the left. We have your common red laterite soil. That is what you find here in Mumbai in the growing conditions here. We have here coco peat, which is the husk of coconut coir, and we have here some fertilizer, and the one I choose to use is completely thoroughly decomposed cow dung manure. Okay, so the first thing you do is get your potting soil together, and the ratio for that is 2:1:1. So you take 2 scoops of coco peat like this, 1 scoop of your red soil, and 1 scoop of the cow dung manure. You mix it thoroughly with your hands like this, and then the next thing you need to do is to add it into your seedling tray. Now this is what a typical seedling tray looks like. You scoop it up like this, make sure that it's thoroughly mixed. If you feel like you need a little more coco peat, you could add some. You take your little scooper and you fill the tray in. Make sure that all the holes are evenly topped up with soil. So especially the ones in the corners, because they tend to get left out. So once we have these thoroughly leveled, I think that should do. We'll add a little more on the side by hand. There, that's your perfectly filled seedling tray. Now we start to plant the seeds. So once we've filled in our seedling tray, the next thing to do is to plant the seeds. Now I have here with me a packet of lettuce seeds. As you notice, the seeds here are really tiny, so we have to be careful while handling them. The variety that I have here is lettuce green deer tongue, which is really hardy seed and good to grow in this kind of tropical weather. So what you do is carefully take a few seeds out in the palm of your hand. And a trick to understanding how deep to plant the seeds is basically the size of the seed is how deep you plant it. So basically you take 1 or 2 seeds and you can sprinkle it on the top like this. Just a couple, 1 or 2, sprinkle it on the top, make sure that they're right on the surface and they're not too deep. Alternatively, you can also take a tray like this, fill it with soil like the way we've done here, and just sprinkle the seeds on top. Oops. So once we've planted these seeds, we take a little of the excessive potting mix that we have here and we just sprinkle a little bit on top to cover the seeds. Make sure that they're not too deep inside. So once we've planted the seeds here, we sprinkled it with a little potting soil, and the next thing you need to do is to water them. So this is a pump here that works on air pressure. Make sure that the nozzle is pointed in the misting direction and not the jet. So now we have the nice mist here, and we start misting the the seeds in the tray. Make sure that they're thoroughly drenched and not just superficially from the top, okay? And at all times, the seedlings need to be moist. Now these month-old babies are ready to transplant. So I have with me here a 6-inch pot. I've already filled the pot with potting mix, as you can see. It's not all the way to the top. I have left about an inch or so. I take my little weeder and I yank these out like this, gently, trying not to disturb their roots as I do so. I make a little pit in there and I transplant one of the plants in here. Now the thing with lettuce is that They're quite hardy and they don't need a lot of space to grow in. So I could easily put another 1 or 2 plants in there. We can harvest them as we go along. I gently place them. Please notice that I'm not disturbing the roots too much. Place them in there. Take a little bit of excess potting soil that I have here and fill it to the brim. Make sure that it's all nice and compact. We don't want to disturb them too much. And your lettuce pot is ready. Next thing you do is water. Again, make sure that it's thoroughly watered right to the bottom. The minute the pot starts to drip from the bottom, you know you've drenched the entire soil through. And there we have our lettuce pot, ready to harvest in about a week from now. Now to the fun part, which is harvesting the lettuce to eat. What you can do is start pinching out the leaves. You don't even need a pair of secateurs or anything for this. You can just use your hands, and you can pluck as much as you desire for your meal. And start with the juicy, fresh, full-grown leaves before you go into the smaller ones, the younger ones. And if you need more lettuce through the year, you just have to plant more seed. That's it from me on this video on growing lettuce. Hope it was helpful. Happy growing, and hope you subscribe to my channel Under the Tree. Stay trees.